And along with that, if there are some old organelles inside the cell, they all end up in the lysosome. So where do they reach? They will reach the lysosome. Okay, and what happens when they reach the lysosome? When they reach the lysosome, the enzymes, that is the digestive enzymes inside the lysosome, will break these complex substances into simpler substances. ഇത് ഒരു ബാക്ടീരിയ ആയിക്കോട്ടെ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കോംപ്ലക്സ് ഫുഡ് സബ്സ്റ്റൻസ് ആയിക്കോട്ടെ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ any organelles, old organelles, anything which enters into the lysosomes will be broken down into simpler substances. Right, so you can see a bacteria is entering, and bacteria has been enclosed into the phagosome. Phagosome എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് അവർ ഫോം ചെയ്യുന്ന rounded structures ആണ്, vacuole like structures ആണ്, and then these lysosomes will start acting upon these bacteria, and they will completely break down this complex substance into simpler substances, and the waste will be sent out from the cell. Right, so this is how the cell is lysosomes are helping in breaking down the substances which are foreign to our cells. Right, and other than that, lysosomes are able to do this because they contain powerful digestive enzymes. So what is the work of the lysosomes? They help in destroying these foreign particles. They also help in breaking down these food substances and also the old organelles. And how are they doing this? Because they contain powerful digestive enzymes inside them, which is capable of breaking down all organic matters. And the organic matters are cellinde ullil keriyalum avara hydrolytic enzymes, that is enzymes which is present inside the lysosome, will break down all these organic material. Okay, so this is the main function which the lysosomes do inside a cell. Other than that, during the disturbance in cellular metabolism, what is a cellular metabolism? It is nothing but when there is any problem in the chemical reactions happening inside the cell. For example, when the cell gets damaged. Okay, so when there is disturbance of any cellular metabolism, എന്തെങ്കിലും തരത്തിലുള്ള cellular metabolismil അതിൽ പ്രശ്നം വന്നാൽ, ഒരു സെല്ലിൽ പ്രശ്നം വന്നാൽ, example if you say a cell is getting damaged, okay, and it is damaging due to the mitochondria which has got some damage from the external environment, or radiation kondo, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ through the ultraviolet rays. If a cell organelle or the cell's outer structure, anything, if it gets damaged, that cell cannot be, the cell will try its maximum to repair ചെയ്യാൻ നോക്കും. എന്നാലും പറ്റിയിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിൽ what will happen? These lysosomes may burst and the enzymes digest their own cell. Okay, what does the lysosomes do? They will burst. ഓക്കെ, അവർ എന്താവുമെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ പൊട്ടും. ഏത് കേസസിലാണ് പൊട്ടുന്നത്? വെൻ ദർ ഇസ് ഡിസ്റ്റർബൻസ് ഇൻ സെല്ലുലാർ മെറ്റബോളിസം, സെല്ലിൽ നടക്കേണ്ട പ്രോസസ് പ്രോപ്പറായിട്ട് നടക്കാത്ത സമയത്ത്. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ, വി ക്യാൻ സേ വെൻ ദ സെൽ ഗെറ്റ്സ് ഡാമേജ്ഡ് ഡ്യൂ ടു എനി ഡാമേജ് ഇൻ ദ സെൽ ഓർഗനൽസ് ഓർ ഇൻ ദ എക്സ്റ്റേണൽ പാർട്ട് ഓഫ് ദ സെൽ, ഇഫ് ഇറ്റ് is not able to carrying out proper cellular metabolism, that time the lysosomes, what do lysosomes do? They will burst. Okay, അവർ സ്വയം പൊട്ടും. Like this they will get broken down, and the enzymes, അവർ break down ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ we know that inside them they have some enzymes, right? So these enzymes will start digesting their own cell. അവരുണ്ടായ ആ സെല്ലിനെ തന്നെ സ്വയം അത് destroy ചെയ്യാൻ തുടങ്ങും. Okay, so they will start digesting their own cells. Digesting means they will break down these complex cells into simple substances. Therefore, lysosomes are also known as the suicide bag of a cell, because in case of any problem to the cell itself will destroy itself. Okay, ആ സെല്ല് തന്നെ സ്വയം ഡെസ്ട്രോയ് ചെയ്യും. എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഡെസ്ട്രോയ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്? വിത്ത് ദ ഹെൽപ്പ് ഓഫ് ദ ലൈസോസോം. സോ ലൈസോസോംസ് ആർ നോൺ ആസ് ദ സൂസൈഡ് ബാഗ്സ്. സോ ദേ ആർ ആക്ടിങ് ആസ് എ സൂസൈഡ് ബാഗ്സ് ഓഫ് എ സെൽ. ഓക്കെ, സൂസൈഡ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ആത്മഹത്യ എന്നാ, സ്വയം അവരെ തന്നെ അവർ നശിപ്പിക്കും. റൈറ്റ്, സോ ലൈസോസോംസ് ആർ കോൾഡ് ആസ് സൂസൈഡ് ബാഗ്സ് ഓഫ് എ സെൽ. ക്ലിയർ വിത്ത് ദ ചിൽഡ്രൻ? Now let us move on to the next organelle. Okay, so now I hope you are clear with endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, and now we are going to move to on to the next cell organelle, which is very important, which is called as mitochondria. What is it? Mitochondria. You can see the animal cell here, and you can see the mitochondria. They have just magnified it. You can see the structure of mitochondria. So these mitochondria are known as the powerhouses of the cell. What is a powerhouse? Powerhouse എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ it is a place where the cell is getting energy from. So they are acting as the powerhouses of the cell. Right? So mitochondria, it has two membrane coverings. How many membrane coverings are there? Two membrane coverings. So ഇതുവരെ നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ചതൊക്കെ it was a membranous covering, right? It was having only one membrane. But in case of mitochondria, they have two membrane coverings. Okay, you can see here the outer brownish structure is called as the outer membrane. You can see it here, right? And inner to it, you can see which is called as the inner membrane. Okay, so this is the outer membrane and this one is the inner membrane. Okay, and how is the outer membrane? The outer membrane is porous. It means that it will have many holes in them. Outer membrane will have many holes in them. So they are called as porous, while the inner membrane is deeply folded. You can see many folds. മടക്കുകൾ കാണുന്നില്ലേ ഉള്ളിൽ, I mean inside the plasma membrane, sorry, inside the mitochondria. Now, how is the inner membrane? These inner membrane are deeply folded. What is this folded? മടക്ക് കാണുന്നുണ്ടോ? അതിനെ folds എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്, right? So we are able to find folds inside it, right? This one is fold and this one is fold. This part is fold and this part is fold. Clear, children? So these inner membrane is deeply folded. Okay, and why are these membranes folded? എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് inner membranes folded? It is because it increases the surface area for ATP generating chemical reactions. I hope you would have heard this term called as ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. It is the energy currency of a cell. ഒരു സെല്ലിന്റെ എനർജി കറൻസിയാണ് ATP എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Okay, so to increase the surface area for ATP, അപ്പോൾ ഈ ATP production നടക്കാൻ സ്ഥലം കൂടുതലാക്കി കൊടുക്കേണ്ടതുണ്ട്. These inner membrane of the mitochondria are forming many folds, right? So these folds increase surface area. Surface area എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ആ കെമിക്കൽ റിയാക്ഷൻസ് നടക്കുന്ന സ്ഥലത്തിന്, ഏത് കെമിക്കൽ റിയാക്ഷൻസ് ആണ്? ATP ജനറേഷന് വേണ്ടി കെമിക്കൽ റിയാക്ഷൻസ് നടത്തുന്ന പ്ലേസിനെ അധികമാക്കിയാൽ what will happen? More amount of ATP can be produced. So that is why the inner surface have folds in them. Okay, and the energy required for various chemical activities needed for life is released by mitochondria. So who is acting as the powerhouse? It is the mitochondria. Okay, and in what form are they storing energy? They are storing it in the form of ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. ഓക്കെ, അപ്പം നമ്മൾ സെല്ലിന് ആവശ്യമായിട്ടുള്ള എനർജി കിട്ടുന്നത് ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് ഫ്രം ദി mitochondria. So the energy required for various chemical activities needed for cell is released by mitochondria, and it is in the form of ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. Okay, now let us move on to the next part of the mitochondria. Okay, clear with this part, no children? So it is acting as a powerhouse. It has two membrane covering. Outer membrane is porous and inner membrane has numerous folds. They are deeply folded, and these folds will increase the surface area for ATP generation. Okay, that means that to increase the surface area for the chemical reactions to produce ATP. Right, and these folds, it is a place where ATP production is happening, and the energy required for various chemical activities for life is being released by mitochondria, and it is done in the form of ATP molecule. Right, now let us move on to the next part. So ATP is known as the energy currency of the cell. ഒരു സെല്ലിന്റെ എനർജി കറൻസിയാണ് ഈ ATP എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Okay, you can see the ATP synthase particles. So these are the ATP molecules which we find inside the mitochondria. അപ്പോൾ ഈ ATP ആണ് എനർജി കറൻസി ആയിട്ട് ആക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഒരു സെല്ലിൽ. ഓക്കെ, സോ whenever your body is doing a work, you know that there will be release of energy. അപ്പോൾ ആ release of energy നടക്കുന്നത് it is from the ATP. Okay, so ATP will give rise to give rise to energy which helps us to do various activities. Right, അപ്പോൾ ആ എനർജി എന്ത് ഫോമിലാണ് സ്റ്റോർ ആയിട്ടുള്ളത്? ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് ഇൻ എ കെമിക്കൽ ഫോം വിച്ച് ഇസ് കോൾഡ് ആസ് അഡിനോസിൻ ട്രൈഫോസ്ഫേറ്റ് വിച്ച് ഇസ് ATP. Okay, and the body uses energy stored in ATP for making new chemical compounds and for mechanical work. പല other chemical compounds produce ചെയ്യാനും, along with it also helps us to do many mechanical works like writing, running, walking, like sleeping, all these. അതിനെല്ലാത്തിനും എനർജി വേണം. അപ്പോൾ for that ATP is the one who is providing energy. Okay, so energy is stored in the form of ATP in the mitochondria. Understood it? So the body uses energy stored in ATP for making new chemical compounds. So it is not just used for mechanical work alone, it is also used for producing many other chemical compounds. നമ്മുടെ സെല്ലിന് ആവശ്യമായിട്ടുള്ള പല chemical compoundsഉം ഫോം ചെയ്യാൻ സഹായിക്കും. Along with that, the energy is used for mechanical work also. Okay, and another strange character of mitochondria is, so this is a strange organelle in that sense they have their own DNA and ribosomes. You can see it here, they have marked it as DNA, and you can see the ribosomes also. So we saw that only the nucleus is the place where the DNA was present. അങ്ങനെയല്ല നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ചത്. But mitochondria is the only organelle inside a cell who have DNA. They have their own DNA and the ribosome. Okay, അവർക്ക് സ്വന്തമായിട്ട് DNAയും ഉണ്ട്, റൈബോസോംസും ഉണ്ട്. Okay, therefore mitochondria are able to make some of their own proteins. Okay, so they have capacity to produce their own proteins, because they have the DNA and ribosomes in them. Ribosomes, you know, they are the one who produces protein. Okay, അപ്പോൾ ആ റൈബോസോംസും DNA എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സ്ട്രക്ചേഴ്സും ഉള്ളതുകൊണ്ട് they are able to make some of their own proteins. Okay, clear with this, children? Clear with the mitochondria? So we have now studied about Golgi apparatus, lysosomes and mitochondria. Right, learn its functions properly. If you have any doubts, you should ask to me. Read your textbook properly, children. Okay, now let us move on to the next part.